All right, before we get into the big Bears win and Mitchell Trubisky's supposed renaissance, I want to read to you tweets and articles from Bears Nation and experts before and during the game. I want you to be the judge of what these people are saying and how they have little to no faith in this current team. Quote, I'd take Duck frickin' Hodges over Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky is shaving years off my lifespan with every throw. 69% of the experts picked Mitch Trubisky and the Bears to lose against Detroit on Sunday. And here's a quote, somehow Mitchell Trubisky is still quarterbacking the Bears. So that's where we're at on that. Bears lose. That was one of the experts' opinions on the Bears game the other day. We've talked about this at length on this show. If Mitchell Trubisky does not work, if the Bears come out and say, yes, we whiffed, back to the drawing board, that means rebuild. That means it's over. That means we're back to the Phil Embry days and the Jay Cutler days where every single year there was no chance for the Bears. The John Fox days, too. Does anybody really want to go back and visit that era of Bears history? I sure don't. So for those who keep bashing Trubisky, for those who keep coming down on him, for those who prematurely said yesterday, bring in Nick Foles, you should have more faith in this team. If Trubisky flops, it's over. There probably will be a new GM. The Bears will have to tank to get a quarterback. They need someone to home grow. They can't continue to use stopgaps and think they're going to get to the Super Bowl. There is so much on the line here, it's not even comprehensible. So for all of these people, the experts included, who prematurely came out and said, no chance the Bears win, Trubisky shaving years off my life, horrible throws, it's time for you to eat your words. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the first three quarters were pretty. I was very concerned. Trubisky's passer rating was under 70. His completion percentage was 48 entering the fourth quarter. You're not going to win any football games by performing like that throughout a game. And for three quarters yesterday, that was the case. The Lions were up 23-6. But if you don't give credit where credit is due, if you sit here and say or belittle anything that Mitch did on Sunday, I ask you to please look at the significance of the win. The Bears were down 23-6. They had one quarter left. They won 27-23. That is an all-around impressive team effort. So that means in the fourth quarter, the defense gave up no points. Nothing. And everyone was trashing on the defense yesterday. People said, well, they weren't containing the Lions at all for the first couple of quarters. Adrian Peterson was running wild. That's true. But how long were they on the field compared to the offense? It seemed like the defense was perpetually on the field. Mitch was going 3 and out every drive. He gave them no time to rest. And of course, their numbers, the rush game, the issues they had containing Detroit, those will reflect poorly when you compare them by team. The Bears are probably last in the NFL right now in run defense. That's okay. Let's look at the big picture here. Think about how exhausted each guy was going back on the field and back on the field because Trubisky couldn't last a minute offensively. 3 and out, done, defense back on the field. For 3 quarters that went on for. I get it. In a perfect world, your defense should be spotless. They shouldn't give up anything. But when you think about the exhaustion that was on them, when you think about the fact that their offense did not pick them up or did them no favors for 3 quarters, it's not a surprise that they gave up 23 points, and it's not a surprise that Adrian Peterson tore up the Bears and gained 90-plus yards. I'm not saying I'm proud of their performance, but what I'm saying is there is a qualifier there. We can't pin it all on the defense. We can't belittle them and have people come out and say the defense isn't what it was. Let's see if they can actually get some time to breathe and rest, like in 2018. Then they'll play up to their full potential. And come quarter number 4, this entire team flipped on the switch finally and played to their potential. Mitch Trubisky no longer looked nervous. Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller did him some favors, yes, but that instilled more confidence in him. For the first 3 quarters, he looked scared. He was throwing off his back foot. He had happy feet in the pocket. He wasn't accurate. He was short-arming the football. He was scared to make a mistake. The media and the fanfare had become so ingrained in his head. He knew if he threw 1 interception, he'd probably be yanked. That's what everyone has done to Mitch Trubisky here in Chicago. Instead of welcoming him in as the number 2 pick and doing everything people can to support him and support the organization, there's been nothing. Maybe the Bears didn't handle this the right way. Maybe it should have been done a different way. Maybe Foles shouldn't have been the guy. You can complain about that. That's a fair point. But there is no reason why you should be rooting against Mitch Trubisky here. There really isn't. They didn't pick up his option. He's fighting for his job and arguably his career in the NFL. How can you not root for him? How can you not be happy that he engineered a 23-6 comeback all in 1 quarter over Detroit and led the team to a 1-0 record? Help me understand. I saw so many people still very disappointed in Mitch. What other quarterback would have done that? 23-6. Even the superstars that you know today would not have engineered a comeback like that. Not anybody can just do it. And Mitch did. He definitely earned next week's start. He's earned a couple of more, in my opinion. Let's stop tearing him down. Let's stop going whack-a-mole and getting ready to hit him over the head. Let's give the guy a chance. Remember, it's in everybody's best interest to give Mitch a fair opportunity. This is a make-or-break year, not just for him, not just for Nick Foles, not just for the offense, not for just Matt Nagy, for the organization as a whole, for the direction of the organization moving forward. It's not just all about Trubisky here. Let's stop being short-sighted and look at the big picture. That's why you have to root for him. That's why I was impressed with what I saw yesterday in the 4th quarter. And for everybody who said that Trubisky's starting, what are they doing? For people who said on Twitter, Mitch is shaving off years of their life with every throw, shame on you. All of this negative media, all of this attention that he keeps getting day after day and year after year, that's why he's partially in this position. If people gave him a fair shot, maybe it'd be a bit different. I know it's hard for people to look past Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and that draft. But why are we blaming the player? Why are we blaming Trubisky for being drafted 2nd overall? When you look back on it today, he probably would have been a late first round, second round pick based on talent alone. The Bears took him. How is that his fault, is my question. You could complain to Ryan Pace and to Bears management, fine. But you can't complain about the guy they drafted to him. You can't say to Trubisky, why are you the way you are? It's not his fault he was drafted so high. And you know what? He did lead the Bears to one playoff appearance, and he led them to an outstanding comeback win on Sunday. That was an early signature win on this season. Who knows? Maybe that steers the Bears in the right direction for the rest of the year. We don't know yet. But if you tell me that that win had negative consequences, any negative consequences, you're wrong, unless you're a Nick Foles fan. Mitch Trubisky does not need some quick hook. We don't need everybody going for his head minutes into a game, in game one of the year. Let's give him a chance. Everybody, give him an opportunity to prove himself. He's already biting the bullet. He's already under pressure. He's got a Super Bowl MVP behind him. His contract has not been picked up, and it won't be. I think that's enough on his plate right now. We don't need to add fuel to the fire and do all of this stuff on Twitter and question why he's the starter and then have him come through. Let's see what he does. I was also very impressed, by the way, with the running game. David Montgomery averaged 5 yards per carry. Tariq Cohen, 6 yards per carry. Cordero Patterson, 5 yards per carry. That's the Bears' bread and butter. If you look at the Bears historically, they're known for their defense and their running game. Think about the great running backs the Bears have had in recent years. Obviously, Walter Payton, Thomas Jones, Cedric Benson, even to an extent. He left and became a 1,000-yard rusher. Matt Forte, Jordan Howard. The Bears have a knack for running backs. David Montgomery was supposed to break out this year, and that's a good start. And he only got 13 carries. He made the most of what was given to him. And Tariq Cohen really needed to bounce back this year. He had a regressive 2019 season. So seven carries, 41 yards is a great way to start the year, and 2 catches for 6 yards. Not bad. Could have been worse. Could have been like last year, and we'd be talking about Cohen being gone. That was a main topic after last year's season. If Cohen couldn't improve, he would also be out the door. And Cordero Patterson proving to everybody that he is one of the most underrated pieces on this team. No one balked when the Bears signed him. I was excited because I knew that he'd be a good return man, but I didn't expect him to become a part of the running game, to become a decent WR3. That's what he's turned into. That versatility should be celebrated more and more, and I think as the year moves forward, we'll see more people talking about him. So all in all, this was a good game. Maybe the first 3 quarters were ugly, but the Bears pulled it out. And they weren't as ugly as everyone likes to talk and say. They weren't. The defense was exhausted. That's why they gave up 23 points. In the fourth, when Trubisky led the team on drives and gave them a chance to rest, and they weren't exhausted, look at what happened. No points. And a huge interception. First turnover of the game. That was big. So I'm cautiously optimistic based on the win here. I'm not a fan of everybody predetermining what's going to happen. I'm not a fan of the premature hate on Trubisky and this Bears team and all of the noise surrounding them by talking heads and experts. Let's see how it plays out. And once again, and I can't stress this enough, you have every incentive to root for Trubisky, not Bowles. Trubisky is the homegrown talent. There is not another homegrown talent behind him, which means, if he doesn't work, the Bears will either have stopgap quarterbacks. That won't bring them anywhere, by the way. Or they'll have to tank and draft. Either way, the organization is at a dead end. So think about that. Think about the all-encompassing organizational part of it. And don't think about the black or white, start Trubisky or cut Trubisky or bench Trubisky. Let's look at it from an intelligent, open-minded perspective. That's what's important here. And that's what's important in weeks to come. Don't disparage Trubisky if things get a bit more ugly. Don't prematurely call for Nick Foles to come in and save the day. I don't think he even will, but that's besides the point. The Bears and everybody needs Mitchell Trubisky to do well and prove to people that he deserves to be in this league. And I think yesterday was a big step in the right direction. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Benjamin Albright comes up next, so stay tuned.